Dubai, a desert emirate, being shaped to become the leisure capital of the oil-rich Gulf.
We have the tallest building. We've got the greatest hotels. We are creating something very, very special.
A centerpiece of this new Dubai will be a shopping mall designed to outstrip all malls, with 1,200 shops and a slogan as brash as its scale: everything you desire. Completed to a next to impossible deadline.
The biggest challenge that we had to face is time.
People haven't done anything as this size this quickly before.
Riding on its success, a multi-million-dollar price tag, and the reputation of Dubai. The desert sun rises over the Dubai Mall, the city's shining new landmark. In 3 days, the mall will open. Everywhere you look, over 10,000 workers are frantically racing to beat the clock. Miles of railings left to polish, acres of marble still to clean. Mannequins are waiting for their flashy threads. The mall, sold as the best Dubai has to offer, is now in a desperate race against the sheer scale of this project's ambition. Bob Fields, the new head contractor, is on his rounds. He has a lot of ground to cover. The site contains the area of 50 football fields. Every corner he turns, there's something that needs finishing, cleaning, tidying, and he has to sort it out himself.
Lynette, where's Lamar? Hurry up, I need him right now. Well, tell them to retract it.
He's determined that the mall will open on time. It's already missed 2 deadlines. If it misses a 3rd, well, that's down to him. But of the 1,200 shops due to open here, only half are occupied. Some just haven't been fitted out yet, and some have yet to be leased. What looks to us pretty much like a building site, to Bob is a diamond in the rough.
Nobody goes home until 1 o'clock in the morning and everybody's back at 5. Overall, the entire community has come together to cooperate and give us the opportunity to open the mall. It's going to be very exciting. We're going to have SWAT teams that are set up and positioned around the building. We're going to invite the public to come in. Traffic is going to be a challenge. We're anticipating some 50,000 cars every day.
The thousands who thronged the mall when it eventually opened will never know the real story of those frantic final hours. They would have come to see a mall worthy of Dubai. Opulent spaces and shops, row upon row of them. There's a vast aquarium to wonder at, with a massive acrylic viewing panel bigger than any other in the world. There's a full-size ice rink in a city where outside temperatures can top 40 degrees. The mall is so vast, it was assembled out of 37 conjoined buildings. It boasts an old-fashioned Arabian souk, a world record-beating aquarium, an ice rink, and an entertainment center complete with a roller coaster. Stretching over 1 square kilometer, it sits on a mega floor space that beats the reigning mega mall in China and dwarfs the Mall of America hands down. Two years back, and a formerly empty stretch of sand is being turned into this retail palace. The project is badly behind schedule. Going by best laid plans, it should have opened by now. Angeline Chan, chief architect, is on one of her regular visits to the huge spaces that she's helping to create.
Future ceiling heights for the tenants.
Let's go see the precast panels.
It's bigger than anything she's yet done. Probably the job of her career, with some touches she's particularly proud of.
I think my personal favorite spaces in the whole mall are all the atrium spaces. The atrium spaces, the 3-story high corridors. Even at this stage, when you walk around the mall, and finishes aren't even in yet, but you can feel the majestic spaces that surrounds you. I'm just left in complete awe.
There's no time for her to relax and enjoy the view, though. Every time she comes here, there are technical challenges to be faced. The knottiest problem, to get column-free roofs over the vast atrium in place on time.
So what's the contractor promising us now?
You're probably looking at about February next year for this.
The biggest challenge that we had to face is time. We're given the task of building this mall in 28 months.
Months behind the original schedule. It's not just the open halls that are causing problems. The whole design is throwing up challenges for the architect. The complex has been designed as 37 separate buildings. Local codes say all structures must hold up against earthquakes up to 5.5 on the Richter scale. So each building is reinforced by sheer walls that withstand lateral force. A side-to-side motion won't bring it down. A 100-millimeter gap between each building not only allows for expansion in the desert heat, but if one should fall in an earthquake, it won't bring down any others with it. While Dubai does not stand in a high-risk area for earthquakes, the disaster in Bam in nearby Iran was felt even here. In 2003, that devastating quake left 43,000 dead, 30,000 injured. Many perished as buildings collapsed. In Dubai, no one is taking any chances. More than anyone outside the royal family, one man is responsible for the shape of modern Dubai. The Director General of the Department of Economic Development, Mohammed bin Ali Alabar, known universally as the Chairman. Everyone on the Dubai Mall project answers to him.
So you can give me a discount.
Our rates compared to them is very reasonable.
We will work together.
I appreciate it.
I will do all your rates
I need
open
your
book.
help.
Open book. I'll do open book with you. Fair?
Fair.
Open.
But the chairman is nothing if not a hands-on boss. It means he comes up with changes to the design. Today, he's not too pleased with the fountains he's paying top dollar for.
Last week we had to kind of decide that, we are taking some walls out, some water feature that, in my views and my management view, that was obstructing fountain views. We are putting beautiful restaurants overlooking this $100 million fountain. Can you please take the wall down and let them see the fountain? Simple.
The first reaction is, it's very, very painful. And there's always a deadline to chase. So it's never an easy task.
I like to get involved in sometimes in some of the design element, which maybe I'm a little too involved, to be honest with you.
Well, his involvement here is one that will reshape Dubai. Next to the mega mall, he's also set his architects challenges that include the world's tallest skyscraper.
We are creating something very, very special in this area. We have the tallest building. We've got the greatest hotels. It's going to be something that people recognize us.
So what the chairman wants, the chairman gets. Back at the site, Angeline has to break the news to the construction head, Jim Scobie.
We've been looking at this for about 6 weeks, 2 months.
So it's been 6 weeks?
What we'd like to do is, if we can go ahead and redesign this quickly and get it to them.
Okay. So the next time we meet Sistra...
For a minute there, it sounded like a plan. But there's a catch.
Okay. Whatever we design, and we're probably coming up with 3 alternatives, has to be presented to the chairman and all that.
Angeline tries to make light of it.
No, just do it in between the piers or something.
She always finds a way to make the changes the chairman asks for.
So it might be some sort of lightweight canopy structure. And you just hang around here, you sip coffee, you listen to the water, this nice sound, and then birds chirping. Today is a good day.
Everyone politely goes along.
Pretty much on the impossible task. People haven't done anything as this size this quickly before.
And if this wasn't enough, there's a sandstorm approaching. The Dubai Mall, largest in the world. It holds 95 elevators, 150 escalators, with plans to attract 30 million visitors in the first year alone to its array of glitzy shops. At its center is the aquarium with 400 sharks. In total, more than 33,000 marine creatures can be viewed through a panel so large, it's in the Guinness Book of World Records. The chairman made sure of that.
The size is, it's important, but it doesn't really shake me. But yes, I want to know how big it is, what's in there, how many species. So they say, we've got 33,000 species in this thing. We've got 400 sharks. Say, okay, now we're talking,
The task of constructing this monster mall has been an epic. It's still nowhere close to opening day. Every day, the night shift of 2,500 workers heads for some well-deserved rest. The day shift of 10,000 workers picks up its tools. It's tough work in the raging heat of the unforgiving sun. Temperatures in the desert emirate can hit over 40 degrees in summer. Heat exhaustion is an ever-present danger, especially for a foreign workforce, acclimatizing to the local weather and the demanding schedule.
Currently now, the work on site doesn't stop at all. It's 24/7, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, during summer, during winter.
People say, the difficult we do quickly, the impossible takes us a little longer. And that's what we have to deal with here until you say the chairman's coming and then they say, oh, we'll get it done.
The chairman, Mohammed bin Ali Alabar, is responsible for some of the shiniest new buildings in Dubai. And today, he's coming to the mall for a viewing. He likes to be hands-on.
Tell them, please, again, I need someone to trim these palm trees around the square. Still, dead leaves are hanging. Yeah? Okay. And I'm very bad. I pick bad things easily with my eyes.
On another trip, he noticed the colored panels on the facade of the gold souk were not to his liking.
I think it was maybe a little too dark. So I said, these shades are not matching from the main road. I said, it will reflect badly on us. I think they had to take the panel down and probably replace.
Once it's completed, the mall will open onto a boulevard on the scale of Paris's Champs-Élysées. Now the chairman wants to see how the grand entrance to the mall is progressing. He wants to be sure it'll make the right impression. Obviously, his arrival is treated as a bit of an event, and he's ushered to the high atrium just inside the main entrance. It's going to be a highlight.
I believe that about the maintenance issues and all the rest, but when we checked and they're ceramic or
Correct.
they're going to be very, very nice.
He listens knowledgeably to the explanations of the decisions being made. The boss tries his best to be enthusiastic.
Also, 3 areas.
Then he zeroes in on the details.
All your columns are finished one color, huh?
Cladding,
one
yeah.
cladding. Okay.
Thankfully, he doesn't notice anything he absolutely has to change.
I think a little bigger would have been also okay.
Building 11, 12, we are at building 10, building 15, 23, 26. And this is just amazing. As one building.
Well, I just want to go and shake every small guy's hand who put it together brick by brick, who put in the granite floors. I feel like, I want to do the opening so quick, and the opening should be for them. Thank you, guys.
In another part of the mall, the little guys are frantically rushing for opening day. One of the most important attractions at the mall will be the aquarium. Once done, it's designed to impress. That means it's going to have to be big. It will hold 10 million liters of water, equivalent to 4 Olympic-sized pools, and acrylic panels 750 millimeters thick will hold back the enormous pressure of the water. By heating and cooling the panels, the joints will disappear, creating a single panel so big, it'll make the Guinness Book of World Records. The centerpiece of the aquarium will be a transparent tunnel 48 meters long. Sitting at the tank floor, 10 meters down, it will be subject to immense pressures. Iron rings help to keep its shape. It has used up the entire supply of acrylic from 2 factories for a year. It's had to be precision manufactured in 4 massive pieces. And each giant piece weighs 32 tons and is extremely fragile. So moving them requires care. A single wooden rolling jack is called in. The plan is to hoist the tunnel in, roll it along, and place it in position. Sounds deceptively simple.
The aquarium is the one that we're all nervous about. If something goes wrong, the lead time to fix it means going back to the manufacturers. They're in different countries and they're many months away from reproducing and reissuing.
See the play gap inside in the wheel.
It's all done under the watchful eye of manager Peter Knapp. It's the first time anyone here has attempted anything like this. Everything is done in slow motion. Even with something as large as this, there's little margin for error. The skilled workers build up the supports to level the jack before it inches up to take the weight of the tunnel. The tunnel lifts into the air all right, but soon the crew spots something. The tunnel is distorting under its own weight. The pressure has forced the sides to curve inward. If they set it down now, it will shatter.
My worst nightmare is if it were to fall and it breaks. They're built in the States. They have a fabrication time of a number of months. It takes a number of weeks to get here. Because we have to bring the tunnel back in, there are things outside that cannot be done until the tunnel section is here. So the entire project, or part of the entire project, is going to be delayed for half a year to a year.
Dubai's not shy about flaunting its extravagant projects, such as the world's biggest man-made island, the Palm Development, home to many of the world's rich and famous, and some of the highest property prices. Oil money has been pumped into the famous Burj Hotel. Now the mega mall is rushing to join a Dubai being rebuilt for a day when the oil money runs out. And as always, no innovative job is without risk of delay, even if it's from a simple sandstorm, which cuts down work to the bare minimum. The next day, after a night of head-scratching, they've come up with a new idea to move the aquarium tunnel into place. In theory, the plan should work. The measurements add up. So they spread the load, and the tunnel is now balanced across 2 separate jacks. The supports come down piece by piece, and slowly the tunnel inches downwards. But just when they think the plan is working, the crew notice that the jacks are out of sync, and their load is coming down at an angle. The pressure of 32 tons of acrylic is concentrated onto one corner. If they try to set it down, the edge will snap off.
It's not an easy job. There is stress because of If something goes wrong, there's, the consequences on it, so that does put quite a bit of stress on you.
The kilometers are coming along with it.
Peter keeps at work, adjusting with his control units, balancing the two jacks carefully, keeping the tunnel straight. After 8 hours, he thinks he's got it right. No one knows for sure until the tunnel hits bottom. All that remains is to haul it into place with a rather simple lever and pulley system. Only another 3 pieces to While the aquarium is taking shape, architect Angeline is focusing on another of the chairman's ideas, an Olympic-sized ice rink. Layers of concrete are going down and being smoothed off. Even at this level below the surface, bumps will mean uneven ice. Angeline has come back to talk the roof through. The rink can accommodate 400 skaters at a time. So the roof is going to be massive, and they planned to use natural light, creating a Swiss cheese structure with the desert sun beating down through 60 skylights onto the ice below.
About the impact of the sun, the studies will be coming back in a couple of weeks' time. I think the worst case scenario is that we may have to introduce film to just take maybe 5–10% of the direct sunlight off.
The sheer heat could be a problem for the ice. An ice rink is rather like an ordinary fridge. Pipes are laid through the concrete. Cold glycol will be pumped through them from refrigeration units. This will freeze the concrete, and then the ice will be built up on top of it, layer by layer. But having skylights above means the ice must be kept 2 degrees colder than a rink in a temperate climate. Everything on this site is geared to breaking records. You need cranes to shift all this big stuff around. In fact, there's been so much construction in Dubai that it's said that up to a quarter of all the world's stock of cranes can be found here. The biggest at the site is the Demag 2800. There are just 50 of these 600-ton monsters in the world, and they're only called in for jobs that no other crane can take on.
Somebody hurry, they want to need job, hurry, but the machine cannot move like this. Patient we need first this heavy crane.
George and his Demag have been called in today to start lifting the pieces for the roof of the entertainment complex. Each load has to be lifted one by one. Job which requires all the patience and experience George has gained in his 26 years with his crane.
Some people are angry, some people shouting. That time we want to keep silent like that.
The roof of the entertainment center will be put together like a giant jigsaw puzzle. Supporting a huge span with no columns below is difficult enough. But this roof has thousands of pipes, beams, nuts and bolts. Because in Dubai, they not only like things big, they like them complicated. The easier way would be to build a simple flat roof. But this will have an undulating design, which means that not only do the trusses and joints have to be rock solid, but they're amazingly complex. Each piece has to be designed and manufactured individually. Of course, the design was a special request from the chairman.
Well, I think you should have a little bit of taste. So now we want to do something better. We want to do something creative.
And the entertainment roof is just one of 69 roofs that will come down over the mall.
It was one of the most complex roof structures that we've ever done, with the many skylights that we've designed, each different from the other. We were setting ourselves this huge task.
One factory in Dubai has upped the number of machines, ramped up its manpower, and has been working round the clock for the last 4 months to get the roof parts made. Once the intricate computer designs arrive, the work begins. It requires a surprisingly fine touch. The hand of the operator guides the computer designs. Every hole, every cut, every weld has to be millimeter exact. Any mistake, and the pieces won't connect on site, and the roof can't go up. By now, the factory should have delivered all 14 support pairs. But the schedule was over-optimistic, and only 5 have actually been delivered. Extra jigs have been fitted to speed up the work, though no one knows how soon all the trusses will be ready. Back on site, the trusses are delivered, and despite all the efforts of the engineers, they are proving hard to fit.
And the structural engineer that designed it is saying it has to be dead on, we can't move anything. And the construction engineer is shrugging his shoulders at me saying, I can't build it.
Many months after Dubai promised the world its largest mall, the roof has yet to come down. For centuries, Dubai has been a trading post. The Arabs have long been seafarers, and Dubai was a prime stopping-off port on the route from India. Wander the streets, and you find many traditional shops and markets, the souks of Arabia. One of the most famous of these is the gold souk, where locals and foreigners alike go to buy, what else? Gold. Browse the stalls here, and you might even find a bargain. The plan is to include an echo of the gold souk in the brand new 1 kilometer square Dubai Mall. The souk is intended to be a jewel in the mall's crown, and no expenses have been spared to give it a touch of Dubai, right down to the temptations on display.
We have it's a piece of iPod, pure gold, 18 karat, and it's with the 5 karat diamonds. We're talking approximately this one like $35,000.
The gold souk is just part of this world record-beating mall. Among its 1,200 shops is a record-breaking aquarium, an Olympic-sized ice rink, and an entertainment center complete with a roller coaster under its massive roof. It's a mall that could not be built without a grand ambition.
This is huge. We will be having almost 30 million people coming in annually to this mall. So my challenge was still and then is that how can I bring people with maximum comfort and let them go home with maximum comfort, which is a challenge personally for me.
For people to come to this mega mall and make it worth building in the first place, it's going to have to be a pretty special experience. So the chairman was very careful in his choice of architects. Angeline Chan heads a team of architects on this project. They started with just 6, but now,
at its peak, we had about 90 architects on site.
the job they had to make the mall function at a human level. Not easy, and this job was left in the hands of one of her team members, T, an expert in getting people around large buildings without getting lost.
Dubai Mall is basically like, a huge quadrant, you know, so that's the circulation area that you move around.
The loop keeps shoppers moving through the mall. With no side alleys and narrow passageways, people won't get lost and can spend their time spending money. And all shops get prime locations, meaning rents can be high. For the less intrepid shopper, the architects also designed a shortcut through the loop. This leads past the aquarium, a landmark to help shoppers keep their bearings. The architects also resorted to a tried and tested trick.
Big spaces like anchor tenants, we try and put it at, you know, like between the extremities of the shopping mall so that whatever shops in between will benefit from the traffic traveling between these two malls.
Simple signposting is enough to guide the shoppers from one atrium to another, and there's always something to look at. At off-peak times, these huge spaces could seem very empty, so every atrium is filled with things to look at to keep the mall feeling busy. To tempt people to stick around, the prime way of doing this is strategic positioning of food and beverages, places to eat and drink for you and me.
You try and put them where you can have like nice views or where you can actually spill out into the open areas.
Outside the mall, when the desert heat is less intense at night or during winter, the chairman's multi-million-dollar fountains have been designed to keep the diners lingering and tempting them to come back. During construction, the team of architects set its shoulder to the wheel, but even they couldn't keep the project from missing its deadline. Months past the mall's original date for opening, and the roofs are still only going onto the individual buildings, each one different and bringing its own headaches with it. The aquarium's viewing panels have been boarded up and sealed. Inside, chemical bonding with regulated heating and then cooling of the acrylic causes the joints to fade away. And the aquarium tunnel, too, is finally in place. In the meantime, the lead contractor has changed. Bob Fields is now in charge, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
Hey, Hank, can you send somebody over to tenant space GF110 and have the graffiti removed from the wall? The structural steel's just been completed, so we're going to be cladding it and putting glass in it here shortly.
But Bob is just getting to know how the chairman is running the project.
We did have a chairman's meeting just a few days ago. I mean, we're still very much committed to June 30th. They also communicate to us clearly that we cannot miss. We cannot miss the date. So I want to make sure that we get it done. And I mean, I'm not going to get it done. All these guys are going to get it done. But I just want to make sure that they're all challenging themselves accordingly.
But soon enough, he misses this deadline too. He's encountering problems. The trusses for the roof of the entertainment area have still been arriving late and imperfect.
Now these things are actually assembled in the shop, fully built, and then taken apart and brought out here. But between taking them apart and shipping them and everything else, we end up with some very minor deficiencies. Yesterday we were talking 3 millimeters, 5 millimeters, 8 millimeters, between the way that the pieces are lining up. And the structural engineer that designed it is saying it has to be dead on, we can't move anything. And the construction engineer is shrugging his shoulders at me saying, I can't build it. So I think we found a compromise. And I think it's going to work.
Bob's found his chief task is damage control.
The guy has an issue, he needs to come because that's where the rubber hits the road.
And that can mean banging heads together.
You guys are all grown-up professionals. You know exactly what we're talking about here. All this little conversation is for the third time.
Through threats and persuasion, the mall slowly gets completed. Bob's team has come up with ingenious ways to meet the deadline. They have set up a workshop within the site to make the fiberglass facade that'll cover the mall. So supplies are always at hand. But even as the finishing comes up, new complications set in.
Everybody has to be very careful while moving in there. We don't need any damage to this, because once you damage it, means that we're gonna rip down.
You hear this? You hear what he's just saying? A lot of times guys will come, a guy will come into a meeting and he'll represent that everything's a problem. All the floors can't go in, all the ceilings can't go in. By the time you settle him down and nail him down, you find out there's 2 or 3 issues. The goal that I set for finishing in June is absolutely obtainable, and we will obtain it. And an optimist is, the difference between an optimist and a pacifist, or somebody that's negative, is going to be whether they understand what the work is.
So after months and months of war rooms, the facade goes up, the roofs come down, the mall slowly gets ready.
There's 170 escalators in the building.
For the 30 million expected to descend on its stores in the first year alone, acres of marble and glass begin to dress the bare concrete. The souk is given its expensive finishing touches. Finally, the mall can look forward to some kind of opening. It's been an epic struggle, but with one last effort, the biggest mall in the world should be able to fling open its doors in just 3 days.
You know, the world's watching and they're having that expectation and they're coming to visit the mall.
Our challenge will be is that opening the mall, welcoming people, serving them, cleaning the mall, maintaining the mall, looking after the retailers, looking at safety, looking at security. You know, I worry all the time. And maybe worrying all the time, well, that's why I don't gain weight. I worry all the time.
And he has plenty to worry about. With the press invited to an opening just 3 days away, few, if any, of the shops seem fit to open to the public, and 600, half, are expected to. Even the gold souk, the mall's pride and joy, seems a long way from being ready. But the gold-colored panels the chairman wanted changed has been done, even if the boulevard isn't quite looking like the Champs-Élysées yet. But in any crisis, there's always the optimist.
There should be a truck coming in to clean the drive one last time. The water features, of course, working.
And so, with 72 hours to go to the grand unveiling, Bob makes his final tour, observing, ordering the final touch-ups.
Lynette, where's Amar? Hurry up, I need him right now. Well, tell them to retract.
At the ice rink, the Swiss cheese skylights have come in. But the final layer of ice is still being slowly, painstakingly frozen. Thankfully, the aquarium is ready, and it's feeding time for the 32 sand tiger sharks. Lunch is usually slices of mackerel and milkfish. Expensive tuna is on the menu as the occasional special treat. The sharks only consume about 15 kilograms of food daily, a tenth of all the food the kitchen prepares every day. Unless they get regular meals, the sharks could wreak havoc in their enclosed environment.
We have the largest stock of sharks anywhere in the world. In the sea, they would take every opportunity to feed that would pass them by. With a routine like feeding at the same time each day, having a food type that's specific to them, and also definitely our behaviours can condition the sharks to realise that food will come every single day.
Every shark, every ray has been implanted with microchips. And they're all monitored here for their growth from the time they arrive at the tank, their health, their fertility. They need to be monitored if they are pregnant. But one thing Paul need not worry about is the sharks snacking between meals.
They would much prefer to wait for the divers to deliver food than to invest energy in hunting. So it eventually, within a month, it starts to settle down and the sharks really pay no attention to the fish that are swimming past them.
But the fish need more than just feeding. Every day, the 10 million liters of water in the tank circulate through a set of filters for cleaning. The temperature is kept just right at 24 degrees Celsius to keep the fish happy. 40,000 liters of seawater make its way to the mall. It's a journey the trucks will be making every day for years to come. Each month, slightly more than 10% of the total water in the giant aquarium. And these truckloads are there simply to top up the natural daily losses from filtration and evaporation. Though it doesn't go straight in with the fish, Gulf water is salty. It has to be diluted, then cleaned and filtered.
Okay, so the area that we're in now is the life support system for the main tank of the aquarium. So this is the heart of the aquarium where all the water is processed, cleaned, conditioned before reintroduction back with the animals.
The system monitors the oxygen content of the water. Its acidity, the air and water pumps, the filters, everything is automated. And there are fail-safes built in. Nothing is left to chance when it comes to the fish's welfare.
So if, let's say, a pump was to fail down in the basement, and that pump was responsible for sending new seawater to the aquarium to top it up when we lose seawater through our foam fractionators. Now if that pump fails, then it will send me a SMS alert in case I'm outside my office, and it'll also send an alert to this office.
With everything running smoothly, the aquarium looks set to be the highlight of the mall opening.
When you go and you look at it, it really touches my heart. And then straight away I say, oh my God, how can I see the kids? I want to see the kids running around this thing.
And against the odds, the ice rink has come together. The ice has formed, so much so they can even get the Zamboni out and smoothing off the surface, ready for the first skaters. And so, it's finally the night before the opening. 12 hours and still a million things to do. One more night passes in Dubai, the city on the Gulf that never sleeps. Then the day itself dawns, the day of the opening. Inside the mall, the aquarium is getting a Guinness Award for the largest viewing panel. The chairman had no plans to attend. There was only a handful of press present at the aquarium. Late in the night before, the decision had been taken not to open to the public.
It was not opening because it was not ready. We felt that it wasn't ready to receive such a big crowd. It would not have been able to cope.
You know what? It could be a month, 2 months late. In my business, this is once in a lifetime. And for us to do it well and to do it right, 1 month, 2 months, that's fine.
Even if the signs declare the Dubai Mall open, once again, it's missed its deadline. Six months after the abortive opening of the Dubai Mall, the biggest in the world, and a steady flow of traffic shows that it has officially opened to the public. Thousands every day. The massive atria are now filled with people, livened up with the noise and bustle of marching bands and stilt walkers. The ice rink, so lonely and deserted when we last saw it, is now overflowing with skaters, and around the rink, plenty more who don't yet trust themselves to strap on skates in this desert land. Most importantly, the shops that have opened seem to be doing brisk trade, just as planned.
Women in this region are different than the Western world. They don't go to baseball games, they don't go to tennis games, they don't participate in sport like water river rafting or mountain climbing. So shopping is a very serious issue in this society.
The undulating roof has finally been fitted onto the entertainment center with all its joints and trusses. Though whether it's strictly accurate to say that the delay is just 1 year is also open to question. The actual entertainments inside are far from finished. Mock streets look down onto yet another construction site, though the track for the roller coaster is at least in place. It's going to take some while yet to fill this space and open it to the public. Frankly, with the many changes, it's a wonder it's got even this far. The mall is open, it's functioning, and people are visiting. Opening any mall this size is a gamble, but one done in true Dubai style, it may yet pay off.